Hey everyone, welcome. So today, we're not just going to talk about happiness. We're actually going to build something, a practical, science-backed toolkit for it. Think of it as a set of habits, mindsets, and even a few emergency fixes that you can use to build a life that's more meaningful and, just more pleasant. Let's get right into it.
This is it, right? The big question. The one we're all trying to answer. But what if the way most of us are trying to answer it is actually the problem? What if the goal itself is just wrong? And this really gets to the heart of it. So many of us chase happiness like it's this final destination, a place where we'll feel amazing and euphoric all the time. But honestly, that's just exhausting and it's not realistic. The science actually points to a much better goal, building a life that feels meaningful and is, pleasant most of the time. The real paradox here is that accepting you won't always be happy is one of the biggest keys to being happier overall.
So here's our game plan for building that toolkit. We're going to start with that paradox, then we'll move into your daily foundation, the big win strategies, some crucial mindset shifts, and finally, we'll talk about how to make your very first investment in your own well-being. Okay, so this is our starting point. It's this wild idea that by just accepting you're going to have bad days, that you'll feel sad or bored or angry sometimes, you actually make the good days feel that much better. It just takes all the pressure off of having to be on and happy 24/7. All right, let's get super practical. I want you to think of these next few things as the concrete foundation that you pour every single day. They are not complicated, but their effect on your baseline mood, it's huge. These are your non-negotiables. And this foundation is surprisingly simple. Sleep. It's absolutely critical. Nothing's going to tank your mood faster than being sleep deprived. Moving your body, even just going for a walk, literally changes your body's chemistry. Getting some daylight on your face helps regulate your internal clock. Connecting with just one person you actually like fights off that feeling of loneliness. And that little sense of progress, even just making your bed, it gives you a small win to start your day. If you do most of these on most days, you're already way ahead of the game. Okay, so once our foundation is set, now we can bring in the power tools. These are the big levers that all the research shows will move the needle the most when it comes to your long-term well-being. We've got 4 major levers right here. Strong relationships, that's number 1, and we're going to come back to that in a sec. Gratitude. It's not just some nice idea. Seriously, writing down 3 specific things you're grateful for at night can literally rewire your brain in about 3 weeks. Same goes for kindness. Small, simple acts totally count. And finally, getting into a flow state. That feeling when you're so absorbed in something you love that you completely lose track of time.
And I really want to pause on this one because it is the most important takeaway. We have decades of research, including the longest-running studies on human life ever conducted, and they all point to the exact same thing. The quality of our relationships is the single biggest predictor of our long-term health and happiness. It is more important than money, more important than fame, more important than your career.
This idea even changes how we should think about our money. Spending on stuff gives you that quick little hit of excitement, but that feeling fades, and it fades fast. But the joy you get from spending on experiences, a trip, a concert, even just a meal out with friends, that creates memories. And those memories provide happiness long, long after the event is over. Investing in people and memories is just a much, much better strategy. Okay, so far we've been talking about external actions. Now we're going to move into our internal world. This part is all about the software we're running in our minds, the mindset shifts that can change our whole perspective, and a little emergency kit for when you're having a really bad day. So what is a mindset shift really? It's not about lying to yourself or, toxic positivity where you pretend problems don't exist. It's a conscious choice. It's about choosing to frame a situation in a way that's more empowering. It's about changing the story you tell yourself about what's happening. This one right here might be the most powerful mindset shift you can ever make. When something bad happens, the destructive story we tell ourselves sounds like, this is permanent, it's never going to change, and it's all about me, it's my fault. The constructive reframe sounds like, okay, this is temporary, it's a specific event, and it's not a reflection of my entire identity. Just shifting from I'm a failure to I failed at this one task today is a total game changer.
And here are a few more really high-impact shifts. Comparing less. That is a huge one. Just try deleting Instagram for a week and see how you feel. Treating your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. You can notice them, but you don't have to grab onto them. Focusing on what is enough instead of always chasing more.
And this last one is so important. Reframing therapy not as something for when you're in a crisis, but as regular maintenance, like a gym for your mind.
Okay, but what about when you're in the middle of a downward spiral right now? This is your emergency rescue kit, and what's so brilliant about these is that they're physical and they act fast. A 60-second cold shower or just splashing ice water on your face, it's a physiological shock that can literally interrupt a negative thought loop. A few minutes of intense exercise, calling a friend to get out of your own head, or just belting out a nostalgic song, these things can change your state almost instantly. Look, we've covered a lot of tools. I get it, it can feel a little overwhelming, but you don't have to do everything at once. The final and maybe the most important step here is to think of all this not as some giant to-do list, but as an investment portfolio for your well-being.
The most important thing you can do is just start. Don't try to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. Just look back at all the tools we talked about and pick one. Just one tiny thing, and do it today. Maybe that's just texting a friend or going for a 10-minute walk. Make it so small that you literally cannot fail.
And this is why that one small action matters so much. Because happiness isn't some lottery that you win one day. It compounds. It builds on itself, just like money in a savings account. Each small positive action is like a little deposit. And over time, all those tiny deposits build on each other, creating this significant, lasting well-being that you could never get with just one big, grand gesture. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. You have this new toolkit now. It's full of options, big and small. What's it going to be? What will be your first tiny deposit into your own happiness account? Pick one right now.